That's great. So
there's a little muted button on Marin's.
yeah,
And
I'll
Marin,
explain a bit that.
Yeah.
First of all, just say welcome to everybody. We will start with just a short introduction to Zoom so that you can really get the most out of it, and we can manage the best during these 2 hours we have together. So, couple of things that are important to tell you. Okay, people still arriving. Catherine and someone else.
Kim, it's Kim. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Kim. Welcome. We're just getting started. So, first thing, on the left lower part of your screen, there's an icon looking like a microphone. Now, if it...
Look at that.
You see what happens, right? You talk, but nobody can hear you. So, the best is that you keep it muted when you are not talking, and you unmute yourself when you want to talk, so that we can reduce the level of background noise during the talk. Now, of course, this is technology and there's a lot of glitches, so let's welcome also those glitches during the conversation. They are part of the conversation somehow, so that's you can try a bit. So one of the things, let's try all to unmute ourselves and just say hello, good morning in our own language, just to get a sense of the sounds, how it feels like when everybody's speaking at the same time. Let's try 1, 2, 3. Bom dia a todos.
Hi, everybody.
Fantástico poder ver aqui todos, as caras todas. Isto é maravilhoso. Yeah. So you see that you get the feeling, right? So it's good that you have the microphone muted when you are not talking. So for those who just arrived, it's the icon on the lower left side of your screen. Next to that, there's another looks like a camera, and that is to stop the video camera. So if you have if you are in a very hot place and you want to get your clothes off, you don't want anybody to know, you can just stop the video and do it. And then when you feel comfortable again, you can connect again. Okay, so just to let you know that. Another thing, on the middle of the screen, on the lower part, there's one button called Manage Participants. If you click on it, you will see on the right side, it will appear the list of everybody that is present in the meeting. And there you can also, you can do few things with this possibility. You can do raise hands if you want to talk or things like that. But we are so few that we can do a fluid way of, if anyone wants to speak, just unmute yourself and say what's on your mind, what's in your heart, and take the space. So the other important button is the one looking like a balloon, which is the one saying chat, also on the lower part of the screen. If you click there, you will see a chat box on the right side below the participants one. This is nice because this is a way for you to share some information or some links while we are talking. So Mariana said bon appetito Bernie, so you can keep some information going on even if someone is speaking. It's good to share links, to share other things that you want to share. You can use that space there, and it will also be recorded later on if we need to access some of the things. The final thing I want to let you know is this speaker view, gallery view, this button on the top right side of the screen. That makes a difference because if you click there, when it's written gallery view, you will see all the faces of everybody in the screen. And it's a very nice feeling. I prefer that one than the speaker view, which is the one where you just see me. And I feel a bit like shy, and so I prefer you put, if you can, the gallery view, but it's up to each one of you. So I don't know, that's it for Zoom introductions. There are some other things you'll get to know during the conversation, like we're going to be able to do breakout rooms and do conversations in smaller groups. And we'll also be able to share the screen. If I want to show you something that I have on my computer, I can share the screen and everybody will see what I'm introducing in what I'm showing in my screen. So we are 17, some more people arrived meanwhile. I noticed that Catherine is not having the microphone on. So Alan, if you can help her through chat to just see if she can get her hands on if she can get her microphone active, that would be very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once again, welcome everybody. Our plan is to have a maximum 2 hours conversation, and we have a fantastic agenda to propose you, which is basically very straightforward. We propose that we do a long enough check-in all together. Well, we'll do one thing first. We'll do a check-in using a collective harvesting document that I will introduce to you in a moment, and then we'll do smaller groups just to share what happened after Towerland with us. What is kind of alive in us after the Towerland gathering and connected with the practice and what we explored there together. So it's a way to reconnect and to share a bit of what moved forward in our lives and in us since then. Then we'll have a moment to share in plenary some insights that came from the little groups. And then the second part of the conversation is around what would a global community of practice, of reflective social practice look like for us? What would it serve? How could it work? What ideas are bubbling around that we would like to share? And through that, perhaps there's some emerging next steps that we want to follow through for the 2019. So that will be the end of the session. In that time, we'll also do a little more breakout groups and talk in smaller groups, and then a plenary, and then we'll do checkout and go back to our lives in each place we are in at the moment. If there is something else you'd like to get in the agenda, just please write down on the chat, and I will try my best together with Alan to meet your expectations. Alan is helping me with some of the things throughout the session, and Sue is there. She's our wise buddy that is going to be part of convening next conversation. So she's also getting accustomed to this. But I think for the future, we'll all have the possibility to experiment with this as we move forward. So once again, welcome. We would like to start with introduce you the collective harvesting document. So I'm going to put the link here on the chat box, and I would like to invite you to open that document on your computers. And that will be a document that everybody has access and that we can make notes throughout the meeting. So everybody contributes to a collective harvesting altogether, okay? And that will remain accessible to everybody. So we can go back to the notes that we took and use some of the links, things people shared, ideas. We can use them later on. So I invite everybody to really support us, well, to make this a collective process. So take part in harvesting our conversations, okay? Does anyone, is everybody having, managing with opening the document, or someone is struggling with it? If you are struggling, just make some notes so that you can,
Where is the document?
So,
I can share again.
I'll repeat again. On the lower part of your screen, there's a button saying chat with a little balloon. If you click there, it will open a window on your right side, and that's the chat box, and that's where I put the link that I'm putting again.
Oh, okay, okay.
So just click there and open the document, follow that link, and it will open in your computer, okay? Anyone else is having troubles?
I can't.
If you are having trouble, unmute your microphone and just let us know what's going on.
I can't open the document's taking a long time to open on
Okay, that might be from the link of the computer. Just leave it opening. That's fine. It will eventually open, hopefully.
Yeah. Someone else have some problem?
We didn't have a problem opening the document. It was wonderful, but we panicked a bit. We couldn't get back to the video until we paused at the bottom of our screen for those who trapped.
Yeah, that you need to kind of develop the ability to jump between windows, and in different operating systems it works differently. So
okay. Thank you.
Sue, unmute yourself. Just click on the button on the left side, lower on the mic, and let us know what's.
Okay. Yes, I don't think that we have enough strength with our technology to open the document.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll take care of that, and then we'll send later the email with the document so that everybody can have a look at it. But those of us who cannot access the document, you'll just, when I invite you to write something, just share on the chat box, and me or Alan will copy paste to the document. Okay. So if everybody is comfortable with at this stage, we'll go on to do the first little thing, which is we would like to arrive. And to do that, I would like to invite Alan just to guide us a bit on a bit of a mindful moment, just to, arrive, get a feeling, a sense that we are getting into this space together. So Alan, my dear, space is yours.
Thank you. So let's just take some time to hear the bell and connect to ourselves. So let's find a comfortable position wherever we are sitting or whatever the place we are, and just find some position that is comfortable. Maybe we can start to feel our feet in the ground, just have a sense of the ground. We can close our eyes if we are comfortable with that. If not, we can just look to a point in front of us and observe that point, that fixed point in front of us. So we can notice some parts of our body, some sensations that are present in this moment. We can also notice our breathing. Just sensing the air coming in and out. And now imagine yourself in Towerland. Just with your eyes closed, imagine yourself there. and try to connect with what arises in terms of images, in terms of people that we met there in our gathering, all the nature that was supporting us, the weather, the smells that were present there. You know, just have connect with that feeling of imagining ourselves there. And try to connect all that we are seeing, sensing, just bring that to the present moment. That's feelings, that's sensations, that's experiences, that's learnings. And slowly we can open our eyes and bring our awareness again to the scheduling. Welcome again.
Thank you, Alan. So
thank you.
The first thing, just to exercise a bit on the shared document. Those of you who don't have it open, you can do it on the chat box. Just to write down your name there, where your feet are touching the ground. So where are you at the moment? And 3 words about how you are arriving to this conversation. Okay. And we'll use these 3 words, we'll use it in 2 different spaces. One is to put them together with the name and the place in the harvesting document. If you open the harvest document, you have there check-in and you find the place where to put your name, the place, and the 3 words. And the other is we want to make an experiment with you. Well, not with you, with this check-in. And so we would like to invite you to also experiment with something called the Mentimeter. So what we'll do is we'll invite you to open on your computer, those who can, this link I'm putting here, and these codes. When you get on, when the website opens, you put these codes. And then you put the 3 words of how you are arriving today there, okay? And let's try to do this in the next couple of minutes. One on the Google Harvest document, on the shared document, and the other on this Mentimeter. If you have any difficulties, just unmute yourself and let us know how we can help.
I'm just finding it hard to actually get a space to type that somebody else isn't typing in. So
yeah, it takes some time. It takes some time. Just relax. If it's escaping you, the screen, just hold on a little bit. It's part of this emergent flow of information.
It's all moving and I can't find anywhere to type.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Just won't.
Yeah, just wait a moment. Take some time if it's taking more time in your computer.
So do I go down to the bottom? Do I go to the top? What do I do to try and actually get a space to type because it's not actually showing up?
Just show and trust is going to be a bit of chaos, but then things will come into place. Okay. Someone else arrived now. Hi, it's Anna. Hi, Anna.
Anna, yes.
Welcome. Your mic is not on yet. So I'll connect. Okay, Anna, just look at the chat box. You know how to work with Zoom, right, Anna? Hi, welcome. We are doing the check-in. So if you have the chat box, if you don't have the chat box open, click on the button of the chat. In your case, it must be Bat Papu on the lower part of the screen, and just open the document I shared there, the link. And yeah, just find the check-in point and put your name, where you are at the moment, and 3 words about how you are arriving. Welcome. So there's a bit of confusion in the document, but it's coming into place.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
The 3 words go into the document or in that Menti one?
The 3 words you put both in the document and in the Menti one.
Both of them.
The document you also put your name and where you are standing at the moment, yeah? And in the Menti one, just the 3 words.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what's happening with the Menti.
Nuno, can you repeat where I put the 3 words? What did you call it? The Menti.
Yeah, so I'll put again here. There's a website and then there's a code that you need to put. So I just put again on here on chat. Okay.
Oh, I'm with you. I see it now. Thank you.
8-5.
We already have 4 people that put the words there. Congratulations.
Yeah.
To the first 4.
First level.
Can we see? Can everybody see the words? Or
yeah, we'll show them. We'll show them very, very soon. Actually, I can share my screen so you can all see what's emerging. So it looks like this. Yeah, so you can see the words coming through there. We still have 4. Let me refresh to see if there's more people. Okay.
I'm having trouble getting to that.
5 people.
Into that document because of where the screens are all moving to now.
Okay, which document you are having difficulties, Maggie Jean, in the Mentimeter or the shared harvesting?
I've now got into the shared document, but that one, because my screen's completely changed.
That's because I put here, I'll stop sharing. I'll stop sharing, so it makes your life easier.
So it's just that menti.com that we put the words into, right?
Yeah. Well, we invite you also to put the words in the shared document in the Google Doc, shared doc. So it's in both. The 3 words are in both.
Okay.
Just a minute or so more to finalize.
No, I can't find the Menti anymore.
Okay, I'll put it. Alan, can you put again on the chat box?
Yeah. I will do that. Just a second.
No, that says I have to enter a code.
Sorry?
85. It's all right.
The code is there, 851804. Okay.
Yeah.
Course is a bit busy for me.
Okay, fantastic. There's the check-in in the document. It's getting already with a nice shape. Alan, did you manage to pass the check-in from Alan and Sue that was here in the chat box? There.
I was organizing the groups.
So keep with that. I'll do it myself. Don't worry.
The invisible work.
One thing to consider for the breakout rooms, Alan, is that there's Sue and Tanya and Alan and Sue. We are two together, so we need.
Yes, I was aware of that. So.
Okay, let's see how is the Mentimeter at the moment. So 10 people. So I'll share the screen once more so that we can all see what's emerging there, and then we'll put this word cloud also in the shared document later on. But it looks a bit like this. So this is nice if you wanna, on a certain situation, get a sense of what's emerging from the group on different brainstorms, different things. You can use this technology. So it seems that tiredness is a general feeling among some of us. At the same time, peaceful, delighted, excited, encouraged, reflexive. So those are the most common ones. The bigger the words, the more common the words. So that's it. I guess this was just to show you a bit of some of the potentialities of this, but actually we came here to talk, to meet each other. So to try really to where this technology can take us in terms of really connecting, we would like to invite you to have small breakout rooms. Now, we thought about doing some triads and do groups of 3 to have a proper time for us to check on each other and see where we are at after Towerland. So what has been moving through us that somehow is a result or an ongoing process from us meeting together and meeting Towerland back a month and a half ago. So in order to do that, we will just do breakout rooms. We'll do this automatically. Alan is helping with that. So you'll have an invitation in your screen. It will pop up a window so that you can jump to this small group. You'll get a new configuration in your screen with just 1 or 2 people. Those of you who are the 2 together, you'll get with 1 person more so that you have time, the 3 to check in. And what we would like you to do is to really have the time to connect with each other. We'll have around 20-25 minutes for this, so you can have a time for a first round, each one to check in, and then you can have a bit of time just to comment and have a generative conversation around what comes up. Would be nice if at least 1 person from the group can take some notes in the collective harvesting document. So you just choose whatever group, put the names there, and just put some words on some of the things that are emerging from the conversation. You don't need to write everything in detail. We just want to collect like the little pearls, the different things that pop out of that conversation, okay? And then we'll have a plenary all together to share some of the insights that came from the conversation that you feel are important to share in all the group. Now, one important thing to say is that I will be with 1 or 2 of you in the main room, and I will send a reminder that you'll have a certain time left still. And in a certain moment, you'll get a reminder that say you have 1 minute. When you get that message, don't jump back to the main room. Just use that minute to close properly, you know, so you don't stop the conversation in the middle of nowhere and come back to the plenary. That's something that often happens. So just take the time, the minute to close properly, and then we'll be back to the big screen, to the big room altogether. I hope it's clear for everybody. If not, please, some people arrived in between, so let us know if you're having some difficulties with the technology. Let us know now, because we want everybody to be fully participating, so it's important to take care now that everybody is ready. So I see Sue is having her hands up. Sue, you want to say something? Sue Soang? No? Okay, so yeah, lower hand. That's it. Okay. So if that's fine, then Alan, yeah, that's Kim.
No, when you said 25 minutes, that everybody has 25 minutes.
No, total.
Total for the triad, for the trio to check in on each other, okay?
Okay, got you.
So 25, let's say 20 minutes, and then if people need a bit of time, will be nice. Don't worry. So yeah, Alan, are you ready?
Yeah, I can put you guys on the good conversation. So see you in 20 minutes. Enjoy. Don't forget to accept the invitation for the groups. Pablo, you didn't. Pablo,
hermano, tienes ahí un... ya fue.
I think he
Alan, you have a group to join, and then I'll stay with Catherine and Anna.
Yeah, I can join group here.
Okay.
Let me see if I can join myself. Maybe it's not possible.
Yeah, that's a possibility. So then put me in another group, and you stay with Anna and Catherine.
Yes.
Right.
Let me see. Yeah. So we'll put you just Okay. See you.
Okay.
Nuno is here.
Pablito, you're in Buenos Aires.
Yes, I am in my home. I'm looking. What do you have? The times. What
time is it? Yeah, in New Zealand, it's 8:30 in the morning.
So I think Pablo was intrigued about the machine that you have behind you, Bernie. It's jogging machine.
No, it's a cycle. It's a cycle machine.
Una bicicleta.
We really use it. It's just there to make us feel athletic.
So dears, we have around 20 minutes to make a round, share like what has been moving through since Towerland in our lives, in us, regarding the practice. Pablo, es claro para ti lo que es para hacer en este grupo, ¿no? Hacer un check-in de qué pasa desde que salimos de Towerland.
Okay.
En qué está vivo en nosotros de la práctica. Si necesitas de alguna ayuda con la traducción o algo, dime, ¿vale?
Okay. Gracias, Nuno.
So yeah, the space is open. Let's share.
Are you with us, Nuno?
I'm going to stay with you. Yeah, we'll be the same.
What an honor.
The honor is mine. So I can move forward. I'm kind of at the edge of my seat, so feeling the adrenaline of hosting this for the first time with all of you. It's really exciting.
It's amazing.
So I've been in a very. I came back from Towerland very enthusiastic.
Just before you start, Nuno, do we need to decide who's going to take the notes?
Yes. Is anyone feeling? Mariana, you wanna? Okay, thank you, Mariana. Thanks for that. So you don't need to write everything. Just feel what is more relevant to share with the others. So for me, coming back was somehow tough because every time I leave home, I leave Joanna and the kids and the twins. So it's very tough for her to be working and dealing with the kids and everything alone. So often when I go away, I feel guilty, and there's a lot of negative feelings inside of me. And this time I didn't felt that, because I felt I was in a different space. So I came back with this energy of like, I want to care for this space, this family space, but I'm also committed to this practice and what it means for me as a human being. And then connected with that was the fact that I opened up, and I think Pablo knows because we talked a bit in the meeting about that, but I opened up a lot in terms of that before Towerland, I was still finding myself in a space of, oh, I'm not going to work with these people or with that people or with this kind of organizations that are, you know, business as usual. Or so I was very kind of exclusive somehow. And I came back from Towerland with this feeling like, I actually want to work with everybody. I'm feeling that I'm enough grounded and feeling that I can be wholesome no matter with whom I'm working. And so I was really excited with that and felt it was some opening in me and allowed more space in what I'm doing in Portugal and around the world because of that. So that was a very nice outcome from meeting you guys in Towerland and meeting Towerland. And there's other little things. So I feel that the quality of how I'm approaching the processes and collaborative work is also a bit more grounded and more clear. So I'm still feeling the changes coming through. So it has been a very nice period with some difficult moments, but most of all, very, very exciting time, the return to Portugal. That's how I'm at with the practice.
Thank you. Shall I go next? Is that okay? Yeah, so I've come back, you know, to a tough time, really. You know, my mother died and we were there, you know, so that was sad and beautiful at the same time. And it was lovely to hear the things that were said about my mother by the people that she knew. So, you know, it was beautiful, it was wonderful, but it was also, you know, quite surprising, you know, that sometimes those closest to us we all reserve the worst of ourselves for those closest to us. Seems to be a kind of a phenomenon of human existence. So that, and also the fact that my business relationship is breaking up a little acrimoniously with a partner of 6 years. So, you know, that's caused some emotional turmoil for me, but I, you know, try to put it aside, and then I lie awake at night seething about it. So, you know, and trying to move on. We had a meeting yesterday, which is kind of identified a clear path. So that's kind of been going on, and that's you know, the practice and the trip to Towerland is still very much alive in me. I'm loving the beautiful book, what was it, Artists of the Invisible, which is a real revelation for me. I always underline and highlight phrases. Well, in that book, it's almost every second sentence I've put a big line through. So although I've got this sense of loss and grieving and grievance, which I'm trying to let go of, you know, I do have a real possibility about the practice and how central it is to what I'm doing, and how, like you, Nuno, that you know, the generosity of being a more inclusive, bringing a more inclusive self to the world, rather than, hey, this practice, this is the only. Want to work with people who see things the same way. I have an opportunity that just came up yesterday to do some pro bono volunteer work in a space, and it'll be work that's at the other end of what I do, well intentioned, but more structured, more linear type of work. And I thought, for a really good cause, educating young New Zealanders. So I think I will take up that opportunity and enjoy just immersing myself in something that's not the practice, as well as holding the practice in me and in that environment and seeing what happens. So so I'm looking forward to Christmas and a break at the beach. So, which is what we're going to do. So that's me. And lovely to see you all. This is an awesome initiative. Thank you, Nuno.
Thanks, Bernie.
Well, and in this moment, I don't know if I can talk in English or in Spanish, but I try to explain in English, and we'll see. The word observation, exploration, these words are new words in my life. I can convince my partners and other collaborators of my account organization. I convince them to observe our own organization. And I am very happy with this because I am experience the surprises. What can we find in this process? We believe that we know all, but really now we discover that we reach other vision about, we start to develop other vision about our own organization.
Other what? I didn't get the word. Other what? Issues?
I try to explain in Spanish, and Nuno, perhaps you can help me. Fue muy interesante ver el rostro de mis compañeros viendo nuevamente nuestra propia organización.
So Pablo says it was very interesting to see in the face of his colleagues from the organization them seeing the organization.
Por ejemplo, un socio que trabaja con impuestos.
For instance, one of the partners that works with taxes.
Nunca había visto.
He never saw.
Es su trabajo.
Nunca vio lo que?
Cuán complejo.
So he never saw how complex his job was.
La cantidad de responsabilidades.
Yeah, the amount of responsibilities.
De tareas.
The tasks.
Y ese proceso de intensificar la observación
and this process of intensifying the observation
nos está permitiendo encontrar una nueva forma para el año próximo.
it's allowing the organization, the people to find a new path for the coming year.
Una forma más orgánica y más participativa.
A way that is more organic and more participative.
Con responsabilidades claras.
With clear responsibilities.
Con menos lugares o zonas grises.
With less places or areas that are gray, that are not clear.
Y el proceso va diciendo cómo seguir.
And the process is informing, telling how to move forward, you know.
Eso.
And you are getting ready to go on the horse rides.
Yes, next week. I believe that I'm ready. But we'll see. We'll see in January in our next meeting.
Yeah, we'll see how you are.
Yes.
Thank you, Pablo. Gracias. Bernie, you are muted. So sorry, I'm muting you occasionally just to reduce the noise, the background noise.
Okay, I can do that too. So I'll keep an eye on that. But where is? Tell me something about the horse ride.
Ah, yeah.
Oh. Pableto.
Yes.
Can you tell me more? Can you tell me about a little more about your horse ride?
Just shortly, because we need to give time for Mariana, and we are getting end of the time. But yeah, Pablo, please tell what are you going to do with the horse?
Now?
Yeah, just shortly. Just.
Okay. Now, well, I'm at the moment I am preparing what I need to travel. I need a hat. I need sunglasses. Yes, I'm preparing all these things. And yes, we are a group, and some people from Germany, some people from Argentina, and horses from Argentina and horses from Chile. We need to change in the limit.
In the border, eh? La frontera.
In the border, we need to change the horses. 5 days. 5 days and only 1 day to rest in the middle.
So only by horses?
Yeah.
For 5 days?
Only by horse.
Wow.
And it's the highest, is the area of the highest mountain of South America, Aconcagua. Yeah, it's in the area of Aconcagua.
Yes, in this area.
Yeah.
In Mendoza.
The Andes.
Andes.
Okay.
A very sore. How you say it? Ass.
Sorry.
Culo muy dorido.
Yes. I have some creams to take care.
No more.
We don't need the details.
No.
And padded trousers with pads.
Mariana, please tell us, how are you?
Okay. I came back a week ago from traveling in Africa. So only now I'm starting to think about how to incorporate the practice and how to live my life now. I feel like my traveling were kind of a continuation of that week on Towerland, and I felt very much in it, like it was very intense. So now I came back and my bag was stolen in Namibia, and in that bag I had the notebook from Towerland.
Oh.
And luckily I took the book, Alan's book, from the Artist of the Invisible to the bigger bag that wasn't stolen, but it was really interesting because I wanted to read the notes and I wanted to practice during the traveling, but it was taken away from me. And right now I came back to Israel and it feels kind of like everything is falling apart. Like my internet is not working, my phone had died. I'm trying to move to a different banking so I can produce a new card because my card was stolen as well. And it feels like everything is just crumbling down, and I'm not yet making sense out of it, but I think I will at some point. It feels difficult, but it feels also good. Like it feels like the cracks are kind of becoming bigger and bigger to allow something new to shine through. And I'm still talking in metaphors because I have no clue. And I feel a lot of frustration with what I'm doing currently. Like I feel the work with the children is kind of like I'm fed up with it and I want to do something different. So I think I will start looking for a different job in the field of sustainability and environmentalism, and to see how I can be in an organization. Like I resonate with what you said, Nuno, about just allowing myself to work with whatever, not limiting, not pushing away options just because they're not on the idealistic path kind of thing. So I feel like now is about time to just live in the not real world, but in the world, and find ways to bring the practice into anything and not necessarily wait for it to be more I don't know, clear for me, or yeah, like I have trouble with the language, bringing it more to the mainstream. And I think now I just need to forget about that and just let it live through me and in me and everything I do. Doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. So I don't know how to do it yet, but this feels like what should happen.
Just to let you know, thanks, Mariana. Just to let you know that. Sorry. Tell.
I'm saying if any one of you have good notes from Towerland, you can scan it and send it.
Bernie is doing the booklet, so it's going to be perfect for that.
Yeah, but I mean like notes as well and exercises that we
Okay, I can take some pictures of mine and send you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Alan made a note that we have a couple of minutes more. I just want to let you know, Mariana, that I already start doing the notes directly on the document, because the harvesting, it's kind of immediately, you know, like in real time. So if you want to add there, we are group 2. It's interesting. There's some commonalities on a certain level. So, for instance, I want to just share with Bernie that I'm sorry for your mother have passed away, but it feels like the process that you went through is beautiful in a way, because in our society death is such a taboo, and we are dealing with that in my family, because grandfather of Joanna is getting very old, and you know, people try to sustain his life as much as possible, but at to which expense. And I'm kind of fighting with how to bring this conversation around, well, we should actually enjoy the last moments we have with him with quality, and not being obsessed by extending the life a lot. And there's a lot of conversation around that is important, but it's very hard.
Thanks, Nuno.
Yeah. So we have like 40 minutes still, 40 seconds actually, and then we'll go back, all of us, to the main session, okay? So if
you know, where are the notes?
It's in the, you have opened the harvesting document, no? You don't have it open in your screen.
Oh, the harvesting, yeah.
So it's just there. If you go group number 2 in point to what feels alive in Us After Towerland, it's there. It's group 2. You can already see the other groups are also putting the notes there. So it's really interesting how it, in real time, how people take notes and things are popping up on the screen. So see you in the big room now.
Que legal. Que coisa louca isso, gente. It's very crazy, this technology.
So welcome again.
Yeah, welcome. It's amazing, huh?
It's amazing.
So yeah, just to let you know, I was looking at the notes, and it's also amazing how the harvesting is made in real time and is emerging. Thank you for caring for that.
5
Those of
pages.
you who would like to have a look at it,
Yeah.
you can have a short look. But we would like to have like 10-15 minutes, if necessary, just to have in the bigger group a space to share things that you feel are important, patterns, commonalities, things that emerged from this period after Towerland that you feel it's worth mentioning and sharing with the whole group. So the space is of all of us. If you feel the will to talk, just unmute and talk. Don't need to raise hands or.
Well, just quickly on the anthology, which you raised, Nuno, a couple of minutes ago. I think I've heard from almost everybody, but if anyone's got a contribution they want to make and haven't made, please send it through, and I'll send it out as a draft before Christmas. It will be a Christmas present to ourselves. So, yes, be in touch with me if you've got something to add, and some insight or some poetry or some beautiful words. But I'll get that out, before, either on the weekend or before the weekend to everybody.
Who wants to share? Everyone is shy.
I'm going to go. Okay, I'm unmuted. So Tanya and Alexandra and I talked, and Alexandra sends her love and kisses. She had to go be in a presentation at 9 a.m. She had lipstick on. Everyone saw the lipstick. It was brilliant. So we kind of were finding our way in the space, but I think we were all really just excited to be seeing each other and to open up a conversation. So we did a little bit of sharing, and it was a bit hesitant. We struggled a bit with the reporting as we were talking, because we found that if we were writing, we couldn't see each other. So our report is quite thin. In fact, it's not really started much. But we had a lovely conversation, and I think, Tanya, I mean, you can add, but the thing that stands out for me is the sense of we didn't have points that came out of Thailand. We weren't remembering any particular techniques or content pieces or devastating insights. But what we had was a sense of community and of being in some way held. So Tanya said when she found herself presenting in other settings after Thailand, after Etch, it was almost as if the community was coming through her into the spaces that she was presenting in. And I had been in a very, very busy workspace working with other groups of people for weeks and weeks in a row. And so I didn't think much about Thailand, but it was, if I think now of those weeks, I'm not sure I would have managed them if I hadn't had the week with everybody in Thailand, because that's what made it possible to, in the words of one of my clients, be flexible. And then for Alexandra, it was extraordinary because she said she came back with this, not looking for other places to do this work, but actually being able to do this work in the place that she is. And she said when she works more reflectively and more steadily with her own practice and with other people, it changes everything. And that's particularly marked in a hard corporate environment where you're constantly on task to defend and deliver. And what happens if you're not doing that? Then everything changes. So, yeah, those are some of the thoughts. Do you want to add, Tanya?
Just so we had an amazing conversation around control and what happens when you really let go of control.
Thank you. Thank you.
I might pick up on the control theme because life has been completely out of control in my space. Within 2 days of getting back, my mother fell ill, and I've been on a journey with her, and she died on the 9th of December, and we had her funeral on Saturday. So the whole theme of expansion and contraction is very much alive in my breath, really, and of the journey with her. And it just feels like a miracle and extraordinary timing of everything. It has had an extraordinary synchronicity, and the time in Thailand was very, very important. And everybody in our group was commenting on just the grounding in nature, and this feels like, there's nothing more extraordinary than the cycle of nature of life and death, but actually just we're noticing, everybody in our group was saying we are seeing more sharply in even what we're observing in the natural world around us, as well as the human world that we're working in. So I've been holding a sense of the weaver bird image in me, who has been very much weaving in the celebration of Mum's life. And as well as, so I guess what's been alive for me is hugely that so much of what we did in nature, and so grateful for it as the preparation for me for this journey. And some gorgeous times with my granddaughter that is just the holding the future in my arms with her. I was describing to my group, I held her in my arms walking behind Mum's coffin on Saturday as we carried her out of the church on her last journey. So lots and lots of symbol in there for me. Yeah. It's just gorgeous to see you all this morning and just be able to share that with you in person, not just by emails or anything like that. So thank you, Nuno and Alan, for creating the space. I work with Zoom a lot, and I think it's got lots of potential for us connecting.
Thank you.
I would like to just say, Margie Jean, how moved I am to hear your story. I know what a long journey you've traveled with your mother, and it's incredible to hear this. I really feel touched. And yes, the timing is absolutely extraordinary. And also feeling that when you connect that with cycles of life and death and the whole process of connecting with nature, that has been very, very strong for me and has come out of Etch, just the sense that perhaps the most powerful thing we can be doing is creating those connections with the natural world as part of how we're moving forward. So thank you so much for sharing that about your mother and how it links you with nature in a way that you describe. It feels very powerful for me.
perhaps one of the things I want to share with you, it's not. We didn't talk about this in the small group, but a lot of developments have been going on through in Europe with some movements, social movements. There's the yellow vests in France, people going to the streets, destroying things, and really kind of getting in this very harsh environment of reclaiming a lot of things. And at the same time, an emergent movement of called the Extinction Rebellion that started in England and is now kind of slowly spreading around, of people saying it's enough of destroying the nature and we need to demand our governments and institutions to really change. Otherwise, we'll do non-violent civil disobedience and other things that to start to really ask people to pay attention. And it's not that I'm just sharing that because I have a feeling, and I've been talking about that. It was part of the conversation in Towerland of the way the world is unfolding in this feeling of a turning point in history. But what I realize in me is that I'm getting less mad about it, like in an upset way, and more I feel, and it's part of of what came through in Towerland, I feel more grounded to embrace what's happening and to find my way in it, and find my way through connection with nature, through listening deeper to my intuition, to what is emerging. So a bit of, I think that's very much related with the practice and with this idea or this feeling of the wild, because we are living in a way wild moments. This is all, and it's going to get wilder in the sense that the more we try to tame, or the more people try to keep business as usual and taming the environments further and further, the more they will become wild. So I'm just noticing that and wanted to share that. And also another thing that has been very present, also because I'm part of some conversations in Europe about the practice, is this sense of community. So I want just to reinforce that has been very strongly present in me since the beginning of November. And it's so great to have these faces in the screen of everybody. So thank you for coming and being here. There's still time for a couple of voices before we move to the second part of the conversation. So feel free if you feel you'd like to share something.
I'd also say that we are still holding the possibility of a process in New Zealand. That thought is still alive for us in New Zealand. We've had conversations over the last few days, and we've got a breakfast tomorrow. Teresa will be there, Alex will be there, and so we're working towards an invitation. So more from that at a later date, but we haven't forgotten that.
Sorry, Bernie, I didn't understand you. I am with my Kiwi accent, English accent, not well this time. Could you repeat, please?
I was speaking Portuguese.
In English, now in English.
Oh God!
No, we talked about.
I'm a bit slow, guys. I'm a bit slow with all these English accents.
We talked about reconvening in New Zealand, a process. So that's still very much alive in our conversation back in New Zealand, and so we will be coming back with some more on that, and how that might be possible, what that focus would look like, and we've been talking about how we might actually do the process whilst we travel down the Whanganui River, which we talked about when we were in Thailand, so actually be in movement, in motion, in flow with a body that is has the same legal rights as a human. So we thought that would be quite interesting exploration. Yeah. So, but we'll keep thinking. We'll come back and talk some more.
We would like to have a second part of the conversation together, precisely around this idea of community. So the invitation now would be to go again in smaller groups. This time we will try with groups of 4. And just have a conversation around what it means, why is it relevant to have a community, on a global community of reflective social practice? What kind of shape, what could that be look like for the next year? So really talk about what it feels like from your perspective. Why is it important? What kind of things you think we should put in place or could put in place that is not an extra burden on us, but it actually nurtures us, nurtures the field of this practice around the world. So that's the invitation for the conversation for this next round. Alan is with that concerned face because he's taking care of breakout rooms and trying to make some nice configurations different from the first round, I can imagine.
I hope so.
So let's see how it works. Alan, I was thinking perhaps we can do 20 minutes and then we'll be back in 20 minutes. So you kind of check the time, because I don't have a way to talk with you when I'm in the smaller groups, okay? So just make sure you have 20 minutes so that then we can have time also in the bigger group to share a bit of what came forward and perhaps talk about some simple next steps that we can do, or some of us are committed to do for next year. Is that clear? The proposal, yeah? All right, fantastic. So are you ready, brother?
Yes.
So let's do this.
Yeah,
enjoy the conversation. See you in 20 minutes.
See you.
We are still a few of those here, so if you have check if there's an invitation in your screen to.
So you should, so you should accept going to the room, to the breaking room, Alan and Sue. Somewhere you have a small box where you have to accept, because you are
window.
Yeah, window. Because here it's saying that you didn't.
They cannot see it, and then there's also.
The rest is okay. Then 4, 3. Strange. I should. I know I'm here normally. It's okay. Just Sue.
Who else? Me also.
No, you can be here. It's okay. Rita.
Perhaps you can.
Let me see where I can put Rita. Rita, I can put you on 3. And
Anna was the one that left Rita. Perhaps you can try to put Rita and we stay the 4 here.
Yeah.
Alan, can you try to put Rita in one of the groups?
Yes. it will be more than 4, but we put.
She can also stay here, Alan. If it's easier, let's just have a
Yeah, it's easier. It's easier like this. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be 6 of us, so but we will manage. She went. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey.
So who's in our group?
So it's the 5 of us.
5 of us.
Alan, the other Alan Kaplan, Sue, Catherine, and Nuno. You can see us, Catherine, no?
I can only see you, Nuno. Where's everyone else?
Okay, so go to the top right side of your screen and click on the button that says
Gallery.
Can you
You're
see
seeing-
it on the top right side of the screen? You should have a button saying Gallery View.
Gallery view.
So where you see my face, now if you go to the, should be on this corner here, there should
like
be
there's such a big screen.
Yeah. It's because you can try to do Alt F1.
F1.
Alt F1. Did it change something?
No.
Okay, don't worry. This means you will see the one that is speaking. It's fine.
Yeah, I see the person who's speaking and nobody else.
I'll show you one thing just very shortly, but perhaps this helps. I know. Yeah.
You cannot do that.
Yeah, you cannot do it. You're right.
You cannot show what you are seeing.
Share the. Okay, so the idea is that we have a open talk about why to have a community. Does it make sense to have a global community? Do we feel it? What could it look like in concrete terms next year? What's coming through when we talk about global community of reflective social practice for us?
So can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
Catherine also.
I can hear you. It's lovely to see you. Now I can see you.
You can see us also.
I can see you now.
Different experience now.
It's a difficult conversation to engage with. I'm not sure how to begin. I feel as though we are a community. There is already a community here. So on some level, it feels as though the question of whether we should be a community, I know that if we don't meet for a long time, if we don't work together, then we won't be a community. But at the moment, there is a living community here. I just don't understand how to make it work on a kind of a technological level like this. I mean, I'm finding what we're doing here very amazing. And it's amazing how the technology works and how the two of you are working the technology. It feels incredible. And maybe that is the way to do it. But maybe my question is not so much about the technology, but about what the community does together to keep it a community. To keep, because a community has to stay alive. And if we a genuine community, or even a community of people doing something together, then we have a community. So the question is not, and I see that the technology is really interesting. So I guess my question is around how do we make the community functional? What does the community in fact do together? Yeah.
Is your question?
I think I think this this kind of meeting that we're having now is a really useful way of, well, for me anyway, it's a really useful way of waking me up to getting back to thinking about all this again. And it's a sort of, it's a reconnection, a little bit like a telephone call, but more powerful because you can see the faces. A way of a wake-up call to get back to reflecting and processing. I know that when I finish this conversation tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to get back down to thinking about this, which I've been trying to find the space to do, to reflect. But the interesting thing about just even having this little conversation in this way is that you can start to bring things to consciousness just simply in the conversation, just simply in talking. But for a real community, as you're talking about it, I think it feels to me as if we really need to work together, again, together, I mean, be together physically as well in conversation. Another process. A sort of to keep renewing it somehow.
As you're speaking, Catherine, something occurs to me. And I think that what that is that it feels that it would be, I think, very helpful to, I agree with you that I think that we need to meet. And I also know that that meeting is a challenging and difficult thing, however much enthusiasm there is. Hosting and having an international meeting with the same constellation of people, I think is challenging. And I feel like I want to be realistic about that, which doesn't mean being pessimistic, but being somehow acknowledging that it's challenging. At the same time, I think that there was an enormous amount of energy that has come out of this process that I think to lose, because all of us have got into our own environments, our own contexts, and whatever it is that we experienced in this process, we're taking back with us. And I feel that having this kind of meeting from time to time, but having it connected with sharing writing with each other of whatever nature, and having people taking responsibility for coordinating that would be really wonderful, so that we're building something around what we're writing, like maybe it's even like the kind of anthology that Bernie's getting together now, or we talk about, perhaps we develop themes that we want to write about, and that we somehow build the community of practice on the basis of other activities that we engage in, like writing. That's what's occurring to me now. And they don't have to be heavy, big pieces of writing, but just that we are building not conversations. And I think that the Zoom conversations and the writing could build on each other, and they could also build towards preparing for other meetings that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that, Sue. Because
and I think that there are a whole lot of possibilities. Sorry, I just want to say a whole lot of other possibilities of through these meetings here and through writing that can generate different kinds of regional meetings also. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Thank you for that. I resonate a lot with that. And so I was I'm aware of this tension, or this difference between meeting our pixelized versions and actually meeting in real face-to-face. So there's a different quality in that, and I think there's no need to discuss on that somehow. But at the same time, I've been staying with the issue that you said, Sue, about, well, there's all this energy, these people came together, somehow we are now touched by each other, we came different from the meeting in Towerland. And so how would we pay the right, or not pay, how we keep energy flowing and interaction between people without having necessarily to put the burden of meeting presentially, which is, I agree with you, very hard, and it's also quite demanding for the planet itself. So how we keep this connection, this connectivity, this sense of nurturing each other and our practice without that. And I think when I look at this technology and I understand its potential, I can imagine a lot of things coming up. I can imagine, for instance, conversations around a specific thing. For instance, when I was talking with Sue about this preparation for this and about what the community would like, I told her I would like to know more about how you use this kind of practice in an approach about evaluation, for instance, of processes. I'm curious to think, like, how you can evaluate in a different way. Or I can imagine other things, because everybody has brings his own unique way of being with this practice in the world. So there's a lot of learning that can take place even through this digital means. And it can be to generating writing, but it can also generate support groups or circles where people kind of share a difficulty and others can support in smaller groups. It can be about, so it can be many different things. I think the only limit is our imagination in terms of what we can use it. And then the physical meetings are much more substantial in a way, because they are already with all this on the background somehow. So it's not like this substituting. I love the idea of having every 2 years a global gathering where people come together and make sense of things. There are some other possibilities to physically keep the connection, but these possible things that this technology allows are infinite almost. And there's another thing that it's sensitive, but I want to also share with you because it's alive in me, is that actually this is also another way, or this can serve also to make the practice also more visible to the rest of the world. Because, for instance, we can organize a conversation around what is this, how we work with this practice with organizations, and we make it like a webinar. So we make it a conversation where we have just 4 or 5 people talking about it, but many people can watch and can see and can be curious about, well, I want to know more about this, how you do this, does it mean what is this practice about? So there's also a way to kind of reach out more. So that there's all sorts of things that emerge when we start also that conversation. So I'm stopping for here. Alan didn't talk yet. So.
Yeah, I think a lot has been said already. I think this practice can show up more in the world using these technologies, and it's really amazing. So for me, it's not sustainable to go to meetings, to go to South Africa, for instance. I would not be possible for me to do it regularly. And this way of practicing, being together, it's really, in my point of view, very interesting for my practice, my development. So yeah, I think it's. I'm still amazed about how this technology can work for us if we use it with consciousness and with a good intention. It can really work very well and be connected. So yeah.
Just a note, Alan. I don't know if you already send a message to the
Yes,
groups. Okay.
Yeah, we did.
How much time we have left?
So we have kind of 6 minutes for ending now.
Okay.
Six minutes.
No, I'm not sure.
So for instance, one of the things I'm thinking about proposing, just to give you an idea, is to organize with Sue a conversation around that, around evaluation and how she's doing it and how others are doing it, and just have a generative conversation around that. And perhaps from that can emerge many other topics that people are interested to explore together. I don't know from your side, Alan and Sue, what is already in your agenda for 2019. I can imagine a lot of things, but so I also don't know what's going on with the website and these things, but it would be nice that we kind of have a possibility to share some of this and see how they build on each other or somehow offer possibilities of synergies.
Yes, and I also saw the comment that you made about the website and no mention of Portugal at all. So we will attend to that. Yes. Thank you.
No, but actually, when I talk about the website, not so much about that, but I'm more into the how it's evolving the school, the reflective social practice school website.
Yeah, and that's very much on our agenda. Yes.
Yeah, the truth is, it's very much on our agenda, and the same truth is that it's been a very, very intense time up till now, and so now is the first moment that we even begin to think about 2019 in the sense that you're meaning now, of kind of building things out in different ways and connecting things. It feels like, I don't know, we have to get back to that because we've been involved in facilitation until now, pretty much.
Actually, I was saying that, and I was already feeling like actually this is for you guys, and actually for all of us, is not the time to have that. Somehow there's a tension in having that conversation because we all feel the need for this space. That is leading to the new year. So
yes, it is a New Year conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you need any help with that thing for the future, you can just ring a bell, okay?
We come to you, no, because we do need. It's not an easy medium for us. Yeah.
But just looking at the two of you.
I guess.
Go, Alan.
No, I was just going to say the same thing again. I feel very much inside myself, like now, having just come to the other side of all of these weeks of facilitation, and then a kind of an exhaustion that sets in when you stop working, in that way anyway, that only now, after a few days, I feel the beginnings of a new level of inspiration and energy. So this conversation for me is just a little bit before, and I know the website is a major problem, but that's another whole story.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that I'm with this tension of having the space, it also feels interesting that that somehow we are just preparing the soil. Whatever comes in terms of seeds will be nurtured next year, but is somehow also interesting that this in between space. So
yeah.
Yeah, well, we are at the end of our time. Still have 1 minute.
yeah. Anyway, there's already people coming in, so
Yes.
welcome back.
They came before the room were closed.
Sorry, we didn't realize we were coming back into your small group discussion. So sorry for that.
Sorry,
we are in the
Sue?
planet. We are in the bigger room, you know. That's
Yeah,
why when you came, you went to the the main room. We were talking there.
It's like when you ask people to go and do small group discussion and they stay in the main room.
Yeah.
And the facilitators can't discuss what's going on because there are people working in the main room. Sorry. We sort of, I don't know, maybe we closed a bit prematurely, but we felt like we got somewhere. So we stopped.
Cool.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Oh,
hello.
There she is.
So I think we are all here. We have around 15 minutes to share just the main things, the things that felt more resonant in the group regarding community. And perhaps I to get started, I just share a comment that Alan made that for me resonates a lot, and is like, somehow it feels strange to be talking about building a community or what it means a community, because we are already a community. There's already this feeling of, well, we are, but there's also a feeling like, and now what? Because a community needs an ongoing nurturing, meeting, involvement, some sort of commitment. So there's a question here about what, we are a community, and now what? So yeah, I'm looking forward to hear what came out of the groups. And it's not a presentation, so just anybody who feels like you would like to share, just jump over and unmute yourself.
Okay, well, I guess our group was basically, I mean, I would agree we're already a community, but it's really, I guess we were affirming how much we love connecting like this, and all sorts of other ways that we might connect in terms of travel and, all sorts of informal things. But I think where we landed at the end was, yes, it is useful to have another structure to help us keep on being community of practice. And this Zoom was really affirmed as a great thing to continue, maybe every 4 to 6 weeks, possibly a little bit shorter, but loving the small group opportunities to connect in some depth as well as seeing each other as a group. So I don't know if that represents our group discussion, but that was the flavour of it. And that sense of loving being connected across the globe and connected with what's happening across the world. Yeah. Anybody else in our group?
I'm not in your group, Maggie Jean, but I think there were similar things came from us. And one of the things we talked about was the idea of having some points that we move between, and the value of having that. For example, thinking about the invitation from Aotearoa being a point that we have to connect in person again, and establishing a rhythm of connection in between, and that actually that rhythm and those activities and that rhythm will help shape our community and be shaped, will both shape our community, and also we will be shaping it as we go. Because I also, with Ellen, resonate with what you say about we are in community, and I like the idea of having more of what we've done today in regular intervals, and that different ones of us take the opportunity to be the holder of that place, and that maybe we do slightly different things in that. We could look at some writing or, just different things. So that was something that came out of our discussion. To worry, not to try too hard to shape something, and also to be intentional about being part of shaping something, whatever that is, something that's emerging.
No, I'm not going to do it. Okay. So I'm really acutely conscious of our newness to the technology and maybe some of the awkwardness of the space, contrasted with the incredible warmth and enthusiasm and beauty of everyone's faces, and each in their own tiny, tiny little spaces. So I just also want to say, I think that we're doing brilliantly. And we must find a way to keep going. And that might be, I know I always favor, perhaps unlike the other group, something slightly more military, more organized, but simple organized. So time-wise, the suggestion that I made in our group, and we didn't have any other ideas, so I don't know if other group members thought it was too infrequent, but I had suggested even just quarterly meetings for this group that were very, very focused on specific topics, so they'd need some facilitation so that we'd arrive into the space to do a task, and the task mainly to talk about the work. So somebody says, I want to bring a case study or a story or a puzzle or a dilemma, and maybe 6 people at once do it, but then we can have small group discussions. So that was the one strong idea. The other one was that we also want to, the purpose of that meeting would be to grow our understanding of our global context, which could come through that storytelling, but there might be a bit of intentional harvesting that happens around that. And the other was to grow the community itself. And in this sense, talking a little bit about what's happening locally. So, for example, those who are on Slack will have seen that the Cape Town Goethean Observation Group met the week after Etch. And Mariana was there, and we've posted some pictures. So that kind of sort of local community building, to just share very lightly about that. So not to say too much about what will populate those spaces, but to try to organize them quite carefully so that we all know when we arrive, how long we're going to be together, and who's running it, whether it's one person for a while or we alternate it. I think that would give us a good chance of, maybe we don't get such an incredible turnout every time, but we get a turnout, I'm sure. I'd love to come to a place like that. I don't know if I could make once a month, but I could make once every 2 months or so with some regularity. Okay, I'm going on mute. Tanya says maybe 3 months.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, sorry.
Sounds like a good idea.
I was just going to say, in our group, Martin brought the idea of working with papers and readings and sharing that, and as also another theme that comes through which would obviously we could do in between for those who want that space, and then bring what our thoughts and discussion around papers or writings to a meeting like this.
Just to add to what Liz just brought is that it would be great to have like a library, an online library or something where we can, I don't know, because I would be very interested in knowing what people are reading and how they are connecting with stuff that might be interesting to papers or any kind of writing that might be interesting to connect with. So perhaps just like, I don't know, like a reference online library or something where we can share documents or just links to web pages or even lectures. There are on. I found there's a guy who is putting online Henry Bortoft's lectures from 2009 at Schumacher College, and he is putting them online on YouTube. So and they are very interesting to hear because you can see his face. So yeah, just that. It would be great to have a place where we can share and find stuff.
So we still have a few minutes. One thing I would like to share, well, there's a few things that emerge for me. There's so many possibilities, but I just want to sit with 2 or 3 challenges. One is, if we are considering this to be the ongoing, evolving global community of the practice, then we need to consider how to include others who are not in Towerland in October, end of October, November. It feels that the more time we take to do that step, the harder it will be for people to jump in this space. So we need to attend on that. And yeah, I'm thinking there's another thing that can also be interesting is, so there's the thing of us nurturing each other and nurturing the field of the practice. So learning more, exploring different things. I would like to host with Sue a conversation around evaluation and how to do evaluation in a way that is coherent with this practice. But there's also so many of other things. So perhaps this can be generative also, that those conversations start to emerge and people propose things. And I think we need this technology is so easy that I know me and Alan are very open to help anybody who would like to bring a topic and make it happen and facilitate, because it's really easy. So the learning curve is really short. But the other thing is that I mentioned in the group is this can also be a space for us to nurture the wider field of like showing this practice to the world. So having some now, every now and then, a webinar where we have a conversation around how to use this with organizations or how we are using this in different spaces, and inviting anybody, who even people who don't have a connection with the practice, to come and find out what is this is about, at least to have curiosity to know, to see if the people want to then get more familiar with it. So there's all sorts of possibilities. I think that the imagination, our imagination is the limit.
imagination is the limit is true. But there's a transition place in between. And right now, I'm myself personally into thinking about acting on some of these ideas. It's really, really difficult. I feel like I need a break for a few weeks and then to come back into this same space with that kind of, with the energy we're talking about now. I feel coming out of our small group, just before this one, they are really, really interesting and inspiring. I just want to say that there are a number of things for me happening in my mind. The one is there are two kinds of communities, well, at least two kinds of communities. Think about it again now, because there's this community. I don't know into this community, because this community is a group of people who shared something very specific and who may want to continue meeting in this way. There is a broader community, which is the community of practice, this practice as a whole, which could be nurtured as a community, and then it would have to expand beyond the people who were on Tao land at this particular time. So those two things they're not necessarily the same all the time. But the other two things that there are, if that's the right way of putting it, is that there is an incipient website that's being worked on slowly, very slowly and gradually. There's a website that we hope may be called the School for Reflective Social Practice, or for Reflective Social Practice, or whatever it could be, that could house or could host and talks and things like that if it was digitally organized properly. So there is a movement towards that kind of a setup, that kind of a configuration. And there's also specifically about community that has already been, and we're here in the middle of it, and it's been very well held, I think, very well organized before we came and very well held while we're here. So I'm feeling now there are all these possibilities. Possibilities is the wrong word, actually. There are all these inspirations can very strongly be realized. And the question is, how we bring all of these ideas together and pull them into different formats that can work for us. And I don't know that at the moment. It's an amazing thing because Nuno's boys are here. And it kind of feels like for us also, that's what's happening in the next few weeks is this. We have to say goodbye to each other and embrace our families and then come back and see, well, where are we? But I still leave with the question of, so how do we bring those different possibilities together? Because they are feeling very strong for me now.
Thank you so much for that, Alan. I think that's a very good question to sit with and to bring back in early January 2019. So this is Martí Tomé. We have 5 minutes, so would be really nice if we do a checkout. So it's going to be very hard for everybody to speak. So one thing is we'd like to invite you to go back to the harvesting document and write down a couple of words or a sentence of how you are leaving the meeting or what questions you are leaving with. Perhaps it's also a good way. And then just feel free unmute yourself and say something to the whole group so that we can close all together. Mm-hmm.
Já comemos tudo que compraste. É.
Que bom. Estava boa a comidinha? Comeram as framboesas? Uau. Já jantaram? O pai ainda vai jantar agora. Eu vou conversar com estas pessoas todas. Vocês querem ir? Querem ficar aqui mais um bocadinho? Com o papá? Queres ficar?
Quero ir.
Queres ir? Então vai.
Os tomates.
Queres ficar aqui, amor?
Os tomates.
Olha, amorzinho, vais passear os tomates para ir pela casa, está bem? Vai dar à mamã.
Tá bem.
Isto suja tudo, se deixas aí em algum sítio, está bem, amor? Cuidado. Anyway, from my side, I want to wish everybody a great end of the year. I'm really longing to have a week and a half, 2 weeks break and have that spaciousness to tend for these little guys a bit, and also to find the space, an inner space in me to connect it with wants to emerge for 2019. It feels it's going to be a challenging year, and I'm happy, really, really, from the bottom of my heart that I'm part of you, with you, of this journey. So thank you very much. Gratitude to all of you. And a huge embrace from the south of Portugal.
Thank you. Love to everybody. Have a great Christmas and see you on the other side. Ciao.
Good night, and thank you, and wonderful to see everybody again. We're going to sleep, you're going to work. Some people are dreaming in the middle of the day.
I want to say a big thank you to Nuno and Alan for so courageously hosting this meeting. For leading us all into, many of us, extreme discomfort zones. And it's been fantastic. And Tanya and I are saying we're both absolutely exhausted. It's very intense doing this kind of meeting. And it feels like it's like stepping into a whole new language and a whole new world. So thank you both, really. It's just been brilliant. You both said you were nervous, and you've done fantastically.
Yes, a huge thank you from Scotland also. So lovely to see everyone. It's really been a joy to reconnect like this. So thank you very much, and I hope we will continue. I'll try and write something. Lots of love to you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to send things to Bernie so that he can send us the Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bernie, for caring for this.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you so much. Okay, so you can unmute yourself, say bye-bye in your language, just a bit of cacophony.
Love you all.
Bye, love you. Adiós, hasta la vista. Pablito, cuidado con el caballo, ¿eh?
Thanks so much, Nuno and Alan.
The horses.
The horses.
Be careful with your ass.
Feliz Navidad.
Marin, I think you need to send me and Alan your account number so we can make it.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I was almost tempted not to remind you, but
I would have completely forgotten.
This consciousness is sometimes problematic.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Happy Christmas.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
I don't want to go. I just want to stay here, but I guess How do I stop?
We could just say there could be the few of us that just stay here. We could just stay.
Yeah.
Lost touch. Bye, lost touch.
I'll leave reading.
So we just have a random noisy conversation with no music.
I'm hovering over leave meeting, but I don't want to leave meeting.
No, this is great. It feels like when the movie ends and there's the credits, and then in the end there's a special hilarious moment. This is it.
Yeah, just bloopers.
Some movies just stand up straight away and leave, but this is all the credits.
This is Hotel California.
Are we the Remainers then?
I just saw a fantastic movie last night called Roma. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Roma. It's really beautiful. It's just beautiful. Anyway.
We'll see it in the next few
We'll
days.
watch it. We'll go watch
Yeah.
it. And
Just
Bruce
gorgeous.
Springsteen's got a show on Netflix.
Yeah.
Go on where?
Netflix. Here with the program.
I'm
Who asked? Liz asked us.
Maybe we could have a film appreciation group, art appreciation group, as a little subgroup.
Yeah, I'm into that one. That would be
He has a series Blessed Addict, I'm afraid.
We're really going now. Tanya has to go.
Yeah. I was just feeling that I have to kick you out of this room.
So I just want to say how I'm enjoying seeing you looking well, because at Towland you were so unwell actually most of the time, and you just look.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just your Zoom face or something, but you're looking.
Put your Zoom face on.
And how about Alexandra and her little outfit with her lipstick? Wasn't that fabulous?
Oh,
I've never seen it with lipstick on before.
I know.
Quite a little man, wasn't she?
There is lipstick.
And Catherine, I haven't forgotten to connect you with my daughter. I'll do it in the new year.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. I look forward to it. And you might get a knock on the door from my son.
He hasn't knocked on my door. Is he in Christchurch?
I'll let you know. Sorry?
Is he in Christchurch, your son?
No, he's in Nelson at the moment.
Okay.
Oh, lovely.
He's got himself a job with a construction company.
Right.
Laying foundations.
Okay, dears.
Good, honest work. Good, honest work.
This is it. See you on the other side. I'm going to really seriously start to kick you out. One by you can watch the face of the others. Look.
A friend of mine plays Mongolian rope. Thank you.
I'm not going to go addicted. I always want to be the last person.
One by one.
One by one.
Who's next?
One by one.
Who is going to be next?
Six.
Who
Oh,
is
no.
going to be next?
Oh, no. Now there's 4, 3.
And guess who's next? Ciao, Bernie.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella. Grandes malucos. Bom, para de gravar.